If you meet a man over 30, he has emotional baggage. Things have happened to him that left their mark, and if any of his wounds come from past relationships, they will show up in the current one, and sometimes in ways that make no sense at all to the woman he's with, especially when he has a lot of baggage. But not all wounded men are the same. There are two types, and understanding the difference can save you from a lot of unnecessary confusion. Type 1 knows it. He knows he has been wounded in the past. He's aware of that. And he's also aware of how that dictates some of his behavior. He's working on it. He's trying to heal. And maybe the work is already done. Type 2 is different. This man often knows he was wounded, but it's not his job to fix that. Of course not. Because he didn't cause the wound. He hasn't even begun to clean it. He's looking for a nurse, a woman who will do the work for him, a woman who will tolerate him no matter how he behaves. Because remember, it's not his fault that he's wounded. It's his ex or his parents or whoever hurt him in the past. And because he's not doing the healing, his behavior often makes no sense. Not just to the woman he's with, but sometimes to himself as well. This man may say things like, "Oh, you're going out for drinks with your colleagues tonight. Oh, that's okay, I'm not jealous at all. I have a lot of self-confidence, so I don't care at all. It takes a lot to make me upset, and you going for a drink with your colleagues is definitely not one of those things." As you can see, I'm very calm about all of this, even though you have a lot of male colleagues. No problemo. But is Mike from HR going to be joining you? Because I saw his picture on the website of your company, where I was totally not looking at who your colleagues were, because I'm not the jealous type. But anyway, good-looking Mike, he isn't coming, right? Yeah. And by the way, I'm using men in my examples because I make videos for women on this channel, but this is not gender-related, of course. There are type 1 and type 2 women as well. Now, obviously, if you ever fall for a wounded man with a lot of baggage, type 1 will create a lot less confusion and drama. So let's talk about it. My name is Geert. I'm an author. I also use the pen name Brian Knox. I write about relationships, dating, and other topics. And the biggest clue to know a man is a type 1 is that type 1 takes ownership. He's not waiting for anyone to come and rescue him. The biggest problem type 2 has is that he cannot detach himself from his emotions very well. If he feels something, he will probably act on it. It's almost automatic. And usually, if he gets emotional in a relationship, he thinks his partner made him feel that way. It's her fault. She should not have said that or done that. He's just reacting to it. So there's no ownership. If type 1 feels jealous, he might say, "I feel a bit jealous when you have drinks with your colleagues because Mike, for example, is a good-looking guy, and I have some trust issues because my ex cheated on me. But that had nothing to do with you. It's something I have to deal with. So enjoy yourself and don't worry about me." That's ownership. Type 2 doesn't have trust issues. His girlfriend is just untrustworthy, obviously. He's also not controlling, ever. His girlfriend just makes bad decisions and he feels like he has to step in. Why doesn't she see it the way I do? And if they are out with friends and she says something he doesn't like, he has to correct her. It's not his fault. It's just because she's saying the wrong things, especially when people could potentially interpret that as him not being a good or smart person. No, we didn't get lost during our last vacation. What are you talking about? That's not what happened. I really wanted to test the rental car. That's why we made that 2-hour detour. It was all part of my plan. If you're going to tell a story, tell it right. Now, very important, type 2 can be a good person. Type 2 can truly mean well. The problem is when his emotions take over. Because he hasn't healed, his emotions cloud his vision and his actions. And that's the hard part for the woman he's in a relationship with. Because if you are ever with a good type 2 person, you will see the good in him. But when his wounds and his emotions take over, he may become a totally different person. If we are with someone who always treats us badly, it's much easier to leave than when it's someone who has good in them, because they have good moments. And we might think we can change or heal them, but we can't. They will have to do the work. And if they don't, with a type 2, it will eventually start to feel like we always have to walk on eggshells. Now let's talk about what happens when the girlfriend of a type 2 is having a hard time. when she's having a bad day. That's when the difference becomes really clear. So she has had a bad day at work and she comes home, totally exhausted. Type 1 may notice that. He will then ask, "What's up?" He will try to talk about it. And then, like any good man does, he will come up with a lot of solutions. Have you tried talking to your boss about it? Maybe you should tell her this and that, and so on. Well, at least he's trying. Type 2, even though just last weekend he was saying, "I will always be there for you," and "you can talk to me about anything." Now he says, "What? I was having a good day. Why do you need to talk about that thing that happened at work? Isn't that what your friends are for? Have you tried talking to ChatGPT about it? I've heard he can be a great friend. Because now that you are bringing this negative energy, I just don't have the bandwidth for this right now." Now, when he said he was going to be there for her, he probably meant it. The type 2 I'm using as an example here thinks he means well, but he's all over the place because every time his wounds act up, he feels a lot of very strong emotions and he doesn't know what to do with them. And learning how to handle them will hopefully help him work his way up to type 1. Now, you can spot a type 2 even after a couple of dates already because he usually acts like a victim. Listen to what he says about other people. If everyone in his past was crazy, manipulative, toxic, impossible to deal with, and he was just an innocent bystander every single time, then that's a big red flag. Now, what if you ever fall for a type 2 and you want to stick around? Well, please just understand that you cannot fix him. A man who truly wants to heal will have to do the work on his own. And he can get help from a therapist, a support group, books, whatever he chooses, but nobody else can do the work for him. Now, the good news is that a lot of type 1s used to be type 2s before they did the work, before they healed. Personally, I think the ownership part is very important. That's a necessary ingredient. Realizing that he has wounds and that he needs to take steps to heal. That's the key. And I think the other good news is that type 1s can even be more empathetic and loving than someone who doesn't have a lot of emotional baggage. Because a type 1 has learned some really important life skills. I've tried to keep it as light as possible, as always, but I think this was an important topic that can explain the behavior of someone with a lot of emotional baggage, especially when it doesn't seem to make sense. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, please leave a like. That helps me and the channel a lot, and I would really appreciate that. And if you want more, you can find that on brianknox.com or in my books on Amazon. Just search for my pen name, Brian Knox, and then you will get a full list of all of my books. And hey, thank you for still being here at the very end of the video. I love it when you do that. So thank you, and I hope to see you in another video.